2, 3, hit back.
April 4th, 2018, Be Different Podcast is back. I am Brad Redford. Across the street, we have Nick Given and Greg Wichard. And I'm having trouble opening my eyes this morning. I didn't get any food as Greg sips down his UDF lukewarm coffee. I usually get myself an omelet. I'm usually completely full when I come into the Be Different podcast. That is not the case today, but no worries. Uber Eats is here. Eggs, sausage McMuffins from McDonald's will be on their way. And we have Andy Mack Williams here, Kicking It Old School with Andy Mack. Andy, you look great as usual. How is your Wednesday morning going?
Your eyes really are puffy if you say that Andy Mack looks great. I have a face for radio, as I've said for 30 years. It hasn't changed one bit. I'm just as homely as ever, but I am in a good mood. I am happy about the Xavier coaching situation.
Yes, we will get to that.
I'm thrilled about the Villanova Wildcats, the second-place team in the Big East behind the Xavier Musketeers. The number 2 team in the Big East wins. They're number 1 in the country, number 2 in their own league. The Villanova Wildcats.
I
How
love
about
it.
that one?
I love it.
Jeez.
We got to put those play calls side by side.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like your initial play call had a little bit more energy, though. I feel like that Villanova one you just gave was slightly subpar compared to your first one.
Well, I sort of thought that up on the fly. I don't know where that came from, but I thought it was somewhat poetic and appropriate for the situation. That's great. But there was a lot of emotion, a lot of visceral grit behind the first play call in 1996 when Xavier
epic
beat the number 1 rated Bob Huggins-led UC Bearcats over at the Fifth Third Ed Jucker Court, whatever that place is called.
Greg, were you at that game?
I was not.
No.
No.
But you remember the call.
I do.
Well.
Oh, very well.
Yeah.
Very well. I was a UC fan at the time, so it wasn't the happiest call of my life.
Oh, wow. When did you transition?
When did you see the light? When did you see the light and
when I
shed
was,
the loyalty to those heathen
it would have been like probably 2000. It was the year the Centos Center was built.
Oh.
Yeah, the year the Centos was built.
You like the soft pretzels over at the Centos.
I met Romain Sato and got to play him in basketball down in the practice gym, and we were there for an event, and it was awesome. And I'm like, you know what? I think I want to switch. It took a couple years, and then did a fully transition over to Xavier. You know,
I'm impressed.
It was the right choice.
It
was the right choice.
I'm impressed.
That's good.
Did Sato have the hops over you?
He didn't play.
Hops.
He didn't play very hard. I was playing my hardest. He did not play very hard. And he was quite the athlete.
Well, Greg, I've taught you the Euro step in years past. So I've seen your athletic prowess on the court. Did you have that in your arsenal at the time when you were playing against Sato?
At the time, I didn't have a trainer like you, Brad. So I did not have the Euro step in my arsenal. I had I think it was probably a two-handed three-point shot.
Okay,
at the time.
yeah.
I wasn't very strong, so
from the chest.
Yeah, it was a more of a push.
More of a push.
There was no jump involved. It was basically a set shot.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I would do anything to get that video live and for the people.
Oh, the Euro step video?
The Greg training session with Brad video?
Yeah. We can figure it out. It might be deleted today. I don't know. We'll find it.
Yeah, there's some background to this. When I was doing the coaching and training, Greg came over and Nick, we were shooting a video, and Greg, I was kind of working him out.
I didn't know this was going to happen, Andy. I did not know. I was wearing khaki shorts and had to borrow Brad's shoes, which I'm a 13. I don't know, Brad. They were a little small, I think.
It's safe to say that you were not prepared.
I wasn't.
For the workout session.
That's true.
That's safe to say.
That's true.
But
that's safe to say.
He struggled with the dribbling concepts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was glad I wasn't the one having to do it as well, but watching him was way better than me trying to do it.
Yeah, basketball, a challenging game. Villanova, not a challenge for them, though, Andy. No challenge for Villanova throughout the tournament.
No, they roared through the NCAA tournament, and actually they won all 6 of their games in the NCAA by double digits. The first team in the history of the NCAA tournament, dating back to the wet spring of 1939, to win 6 games by double digits. Their wins coming over legendary Radford,
Easy.
Alabama, Bob
Easy.
Huggins and Press, Virginia. Let's see, Texas Tech. The Kansas Jayhawks were murdered down in San Antonio. And then the Michigan Wolverines were, they showed a little bit. Villanova gave them a little light at the end of the tunnel in the first half, and it turned out to be like a 6 million ton train coming right at them with the headlights blazing and the here I come, flatten them out. And Dante DiVincenzo, the man who was so big before the tournament, he had 2 nicknames. He was the Big Ragu, courtesy of Gus Johnson, and also the Michael Jordan of Delaware, courtesy of Jay Wright and everybody else. Here's a guy that the national media claimed that he was a non-entity before the NCAA tournament. Here's a kid coming off the bench who'd hardly shed his warm-ups his entire career, and he drops 31 in the national champion. Where were they? Can't they read his stat sheets?
Have they not watched
Don't they
one
watch Fox
one Villanova
Sports
game
1?
all year?
It's ridiculous. The guy averaged like 29 minutes a game, DiVincenzo. He might not have started a lot of games. He did when Pascal and Booth were injured. He did start, and he played 37 minutes in the national championship game.
Right. Well, and it's like all over social media. People want this narrative that a player off the bench waited for his time and just all of a sudden scored 31 points in the national title game. DiVincenzo started all the games. Phil Booth wasn't there. He's essentially a 5th starter. He's a 6th starter on Villanova's team. Everybody wants a good storyline.
He's DiVincenzo is a redshirt sophomore. He's been there for 3 years in the program. He's started 4 games against Xavier over 2 years, and he's averaged like 18 a game. He's killed Xavier every time. If this guy, the national narrative is, here's Phil Booth like he's the 8th man on the bench. He's in a cocoon down there wearing his warm-ups, maybe chewing a stick of gum and helping the trainers bring the little stools out at the timeouts. Here's a guy who's like, this guy's hardly ever played. That is just so. And Jay Wright goes looking down at, who's that kid? Number 10. He's got the curly hair. He's from Delaware. I think I recruited him. I remember him. He's been at practice. Let's bring him into the game. He drops 31. I'm shocked. It's just it's absurd.
He was 9th in points produced in the Big East this year, and he was 7th in minutes played in the Big East. So he got some time.
Yeah, so safe to say he played a decent amount of minutes.
He waited for his moment.
He has a little bit of experience before the national title game. It's fair to say that, correct?
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair.
I think his first shining moment this year came in like game 1 against Lehigh. He's been a regular all year long. The Big East did give him, because they needed to give him an award, they gave him 6th man of the year. But and then at the end of the game, after the game, he got reamed at a press conference by some reporter from Michigan, which made no sense. That story that takes it to even a more absurd level.
That reporter is just an absolute troll. If you want to bring up anything negative from a kid's past, and we're talking about when he was like 12 or 13 years old, and you're throwing out some random commentary after he has had the moment of his life. Can you believe that a reporter would even do that? Would even bring something like that up after a game like that?
I guess they went back because they were all shocked that he actually played and scored some points. They went back and checked his Twitter handle, and he'd had a Twitter handle when he was in middle school. He was like 13. He was at like Dominic Prosser Middle School in Wilmington, Delaware somewhere. He used to go down to the hood and play with the brothers. And he made a comment about playing with, and he used the form of the N-word, because if I use it, they'll get all over me and look at my Twitter handles, which don't exist ever. And they'll Andy Mack, whatever. This is the end of his career. Not that I have a career at the moment. But
well, you're already here, so you're at the bottom. So.
But so they bring up, and the report. Would you like to apologize for what you said 7 years ago when you were taking Pennsylvania or Delaware State history and earth science at this middle school? My contention is anything that you say on Twitter or post on Facebook or Instagram before puberty should be automatically nuked and discounted.
Disqualified.
Disqualified. I mean, it's ridiculous.
You should never even bring it
What
up.
year is the post from?
7 years ago, 2011, the guy was basically out of the womb, you know? And usually after you win a national championship they ask you, the question they ask you, are you going to Disney World? But no, they asked this kid, he has the net around his neck, he's up there celebrating, he's, euphoric, and would you like to apologize for your Twitter feed 7 years ago?
What was his response? I didn't see it.
He said, I don't remember doing it. I don't think.
I'm sure it was a non-issue until 4 days ago. 2 days ago.
That's the media today, though. Like I mean, I can't believe that you would bring that up.
It's fishing.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
I mean, we're talking about it, so I guess.
Well, the media person who brought it up probably wanted his or her 15 minutes of fame and his or her one shining or tarnished moment, and they certainly got it. Why are we doing this? I don't know. DiVincenzo may be a little brat. I don't know. When he dropped the big points on Xavier, there must be something wrong with this kid. He's just too good. He's just too good.
And Andy, were you rooting?
Cocky son of a gun, I'm sure.
Well, did you watch the whole game?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, Greg, are you okay?
Yeah.
Over there.
Was that your voice?
Yeah, Greg. What was that going on over there?
It's an ad that was.
Yeah, we apologize to all of the viewers listening that just had to deal with that 2 seconds of commentary.
I don't even think it was 2 seconds. I don't think
It was Andy.
Why should we apologize? We had nothing to do with it.
That's true. We did have nothing to do
we
with
have no
it.
culpability here.
None
I
at
don't
all.
want to apologize
So, Andy,
for everything. I'm sick of this social correct, politically accurate. Everybody needs a trophy. Why?
because it makes you feel nice.
I don't want to feel nice. I want to be crusty, nasty. I want to win basketball games. I want to beat Villanova.
Wow.
Andy, I'm curious, were you rooting for Villanova during that game?
Hell yes. I
Yeah.
mean, the Big East. I mean, you can make stupid comments like I just did. Xavier of Villanova, #1 in the country, #2 in their own league, the Big East. I love that stuff.
What do you think about the top 25 and one that came out and there's no Xavier? Xavier, the first top 25 for next year.
Hey, that really affects my life.
Yeah.
You notice the usual suspects are at the top of the list. All the guys that are going to go after the one and dones, the Dukes, and Auburn. Not Auburn. Yeah, I mean, if as long as Bruce Pearl isn't locked up in some maximum security prison in Oshkosh for whatever he's done to get those players. Jeez, give me a break.
All right.
Auburn, Duke, who else? Kentucky, of course.
Hey, be easy over there.
Why?
Just pipe it down.
Hey. Coach Cali may get the 3 or 4 of those young bucks back this next year.
I'm
because
hoping.
they didn't play all that well.
It's be fantastic.
P.J. Washington declared for the NBA
Which
draft.
is upsetting. He should have stayed.
Yeah, it's disappointing for you.
He should have stayed.
Well, Jacob Evans just declared too.
He did. He has not
But he-
hired an
he didn't
agent
hire
yet.
him.
Oh, he
though.
hasn't hired one yet?
No, but
Okay.
he's made it pretty clear that he's not coming back to Cincinnati. I would be shocked if he
Yeah.
decided to come back
First
just by the
rounder?
way that he's been talking.
Mick.
No, I don't
Mick
think he's a first
Cronin is
rounder.
going to counsel Jacob and sort of walk him through the whole NBA pro or come back to UC process. Here's what Mick will be doing. Jacob, please come back. Please, listen. You can go to the head of the cafeteria line. Anything. Come back. Sit in the front seat of the bus. Please come back. You're not ready. Where do you want to play? 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5? You want to come off the bench like Dante DiVincenzo? Whatever. Please come back.
I would be doing the same thing if I was Coach Cronin now.
Absolutely.
You're going to need, that offense without Clark, without Washington, and then likely without Evans,
Yeah.
it's going to be tough.
How do you spell impotent?
I don't know, Andy. How
Andy, do you want to spell it out for us? Why don't you go ahead and spell it out?
Of course, Xavier without Trayvon Blewett,
Yeah.
JP McCura,
I was gonna say, there's
and
some holes.
Karem Cantor,
Yeah.
and Sean O'Mara if they ever would throw him the ball, which would have been nice. And I'm not going to get down on Coach Mack.
Don't get down. We got a new coach.
No, I
We're moving on to the future. And Andy, last time that you were here, there was no head coach in place yet. You did give you a recommendation, your strong recommendation, that Travis Steele would be the right man for the job, and he was hired on Saturday over the weekend. We saw that basement picture in San Antonio of Greg Christopher and Coach Travis Steele, newly hired. There's a press conference today at 3 o'clock. Andy, will you be in attendance, and what do you expect Travis to say?
I'll be there, and I'm eagerly awaiting Travis's comments. I'm much more eagerly awaiting his hiring of assistant coaches. And on the real positive, Travis was I think the safe hire, the smart hire, the correct hire. As we stated, both of us agreed,
Yep.
and you know him better than I do. You've played for him, and you've talked to him directly. I haven't had a chance to shake his hand yet, and we'll do that on Wednesday afternoon. But and again, I'll use that analogy, and it's probably not a perfect analogy, and it may be over the top a little bit, but he's a Brad Stevens in waiting. This guy, the same type of background as Brad Stevens. He's a Butler guy, an Indiana guy, a basketball lifer. He's coached at every level. He's proven himself in a 10-year interview at Xavier. Terrific recruiter, great X and O guy, and I think he's quickly going to grow into the public face of Xavier basketball and be a really good CEO and be able to delegate authority. And he can't be the player's friend. There's going to have to be some distance, and I think he's more than ready to develop that first chair head coach in-game persona, and it's a great hire.
Yeah, and that will be one of his biggest challenges when you go from the assistant coach, where you can kind of be that good guy and you can kind of be that barrier for the head coach. He now has to change that with the guys that are returning. I talked with Coach Steele yesterday. I can tell you he's very excited, very energized. He's going to put together a big-time staff and a group that I know that he's going to be excited to be around every single day. He'll do a great job with these hires. I'd expect that first, his head assistant to be hired by likely the end of the week. He's out recruiting as well, trying to keep up with current players on the team, so he's extremely busy. But I would think one of his at least initial hires, we should have an understanding of who that is going to be by the end of the week. But, Andy, I do want to take a look at the returning roster. It looks like everybody that played last year that is planning on coming back. No one's planning on leaving at this point. So you'd have Najee, Marshall, Paul Scruggs, Quentin Gooden, Tyreek Jones, Kaiser Gates. You should be able to bring that nucleus of guys back next year.
Yep, that seems to be the case. And on the staff end of it, Mario Mercurio is re-upping, and that's a very important hire. Mario, everybody knows that he's important. They don't quite know what he does behind the scenes, but he's a detail guy. He's a very creative guy. Takes care of the scheduling, the travel, and the relationship with the shoe companies, on and on, detail after detail. Mario takes a lot of the day-to-day, very minute detail stuff that has to be done correctly off Travis's plate. He can be a big picture guy, concentrate on completing the roster for Team 97 and getting the proper mindset together for the new team. Also, strength coach Matt Jennings, he is going to return. I thought that there was a good chance he'd go to Louisville because of his strong ties with Coach Mack. That's very important. And Jeremy Groh will be part of the staff, a great long-time hire, and we'll see what else develops. But Travis is not going to be a lone cowboy there in the athletic department. He has Greg Christopher to fall back on, who's a great sounding board. Plus, the guts of the staff is going to be there.
Yeah, Coach Steele's going to keep a lot of good guys around him, and Mario, obviously a big one. And the way that he has been able to schedule over the years and put Xavier in quality positions to play really good teams, a big reason why Xavier has had such high seeds in the NCAA tournament. Mario was a big get, as well as what you said, Matt Jennings, what he's done on the strength side, how much the players like him, and how big and strong the guys have gotten under Matt's tutelage, and then Jeremy Groh, who has been with the staff for almost a decade as well. So you bring a lot of consistency still on the coaching side. You mentioned Greg Christopher as well. But in terms of players, too, I think there's still some unique talent here. You look at Najee and Paul, both top 100 recruits. It's not like you're not bringing back any talent to this roster, and I'd expect Coach Steele to get working quickly on bringing in a transfer.
As you mentioned, the 6 returning scholarship guys, including Elias Harden, apparently will all be here. And the 3 signed recruits in the class of 2018, it looks like they're going to not ask for releases. They are excited about playing for Travis Steele. And we're talking about Dontarius James, also Jake Walter from Covington Catholic, and Keontae Kennedy from Texas, the good 2 guards. So that's a total of 9 scholarship players. You're allowed to grant 13, so there are 4 spots to be filled. And I don't think they're going to do all 4, but I would expect Xavier to be very active at the top of the grad transfer market, possibly in the junior college ranks, looking for another quality big guy to go with Tyreek, and also for an established shooter at the D1 level to play in the backcourt. And who knows, there may be some very viable class of 2018 guys out there because of all this FBI stuff and the flux in the player market. If Coach Mack had stayed, Evan Boudreau would be here, which fills one void. I guess he's going to go to Purdue, but still, I don't think he's graduated from Dartmouth. He can't sign his paperwork on the grad transfer stuff until he actually graduates. He's so bright, maybe he graduated at mid-year. I don't know. But I wouldn't, I'm not, what do I know? But I wouldn't preclude Travis circling back with him and seeing if, what his thoughts might be. He'll probably go to Purdue. God bless him,
Well, yeah, Boudreau seems to have changed his mind a couple of times too. Even before his most recent decision to decommit from Xavier and then commit to Purdue. But he's a loss. But outside of that, you bring everybody back. You mentioned Dontarius James, 6'8" from South Carolina. He'll be a nice player. He tweeted out, "Let's go X" at Coach Steele. So I wouldn't be surprised if he was to go anywhere. Keontae Kennedy did the same thing. Jake Walter at Covington Catholic has made no comment in regards to Coach Steele publicly, but I would expect him to have no issue. And then even looking at the class of 2019, Samari Curtis, you expect him to continue to go to Xavier with Coach Steele taking the helm. So I'm excited about that. What about first-year expectations, Andy? First-year expectations for Coach Steele and this group. Where should we be thinking this group can wind up?
I would guess that this group will assemble very early, probably in late July. And this is Xavier's year. Every 4th year, you're allowed to go outside the continental United States for a foreign trip. And 2014, when Trayvon and JP and Sean O'Mara were freshmen, they went to Brazil. I don't think it matters where they go. They'll have the 10 practices before they go, and I would think maybe they'll go to Canada. Or the other hot spot to go right now, I know Wisconsin went there last year. Actually, that didn't work out so well for them because they had sort of a crappy year, but only because of injuries and young guys and all that. They went to Australia and New Zealand. That's a long trip, but they played, I think, 5 games against pros, and that worked out well. But, I think he'll take advantage of that foreign trip. Why not? Bring everybody in. It's a long season. Bring them in a little early. Go on a nice trip to Canada. The competition is good up there. Maybe they'll play that recruit again. Remember the guy from Canada that came to Xavier? He's been a great star up there.
I can't think of the name.
Eddie Ekiyor. Eddie Ekiyor. I mean, he plays for Carleton University.
What's
which
his
is
name?
Eddie Ekiyor.
Eddie Ekiyor.
He came to Xavier.
Eddie's his first name?
Yeah.
Eddie.
Ekiyor.
That's what I'm getting.
What a name.
And he played for Carleton University, and I think they won the Canadian Championship last year. There's McGill University, a lot of good Canadian teams at the college ranks up there. And Ekiyor actually had a double-double and had a great game against the Providence Friars in an exhibition last year. He had 24 and 16 against Providence. Too bad maybe he could come back.
It's possible.
I doubt it.
It's possible, Andy. Anything's possible with Coach Steele. As the head coach, anything's possible at this point.
Well, you remember McKinday London?
I'm familiar. He's yeah.
He's at in Tennessee, in Chattanooga.
Didn't I think I saw something from him saying he was going to
He's
the
declared for
yeah.
the NBA draft. And by the way, Larry Austin Jr. is available as a grad transfer.
Wow.
He's leaving Vanderbilt.
McKinday London. I looked up his stats this year just to see what he was doing, and I think he was averaging like 7 points a game.
Yeah. But it was how he got those 7 points.
They were that impressive.
So that's what NBA
Very
scouts
impressive.
are just.
He had consistently the best warm-ups of any D1 player in the country. He had great shooting percentage in the layup line, and he does play a mean piano also.
Mean piano.
Mean piano.
Wait, he tickles the ivories a little bit?
He does. He does.
I didn't realize that.
And but Xavier's going to have a very tough schedule at the start of the year. Finally, there'll be a Gavitt Big Ten Big East Challenge game at Cintas. There's got to be. Xavier's owed 3 home games in that series. They've played 2 on the road and had 1 year they didn't play anybody. They got to play a top-tier Big Ten team at Cintas, like in Game 2. There's a window of 4 or 5 days in November where they play those Gavitt games. And Xavier's going to get – they're not going to get Ohio State because the Buckeyes are going to open – the refurbished Fifth Third, I don't know what they're going to call it. The Ed Badger. I'd call it the Ed Badger Arena because Ed's a friend of mine and he deserves the honor. Ohio State has already signed to play the opening game, so they're not going to come down to Cincinnati twice. There's no way, no how. It's going to be Michigan, Michigan State, or Purdue. One of those 3 are going to be at Cintas. Then Xavier plays at the Maui Invitational. The Maui Gym, as long as Bill Walton is not on the broadcast crew, I'm fine with this.
What do you mean? You don't like Bill Walton?
Oh, that guy, man.
What do you mean? He's the best.
He's got diarrhea of the
He
brain.
is the greatest.
Yeah,
Give me a
he
break.
provides some legit commentary.
Yeah, I'm
Talk
so
about
sick
mushrooms
of
on
hearing
national
about,
TV.
Yeah.
I'm so sick about hearing about the Pac-12 as the Conference of Champions.
Someone's got to fight for him.
Tennis and bocce ball and I think water polo. Yes, not in basketball, Bill. Jeez, that guy is on too many drugs, both prescribed and unprescribed.
Or is it just enough?
I can never tell. Anyway, here's the field for the Maui Invitational.
Yeah.
Arizona, Auburn, Duke, Gonzaga, Illinois, Iowa State, San Diego State, and your Xavier Musketeers.
It's a good field.
That's a good field.
It's a good field.
That'll be a good way to get started.
Absolutely.
Coach Steele's first couple of weeks of regular season games.
Taking us in sun rays. Enjoy the beach a little bit.
Yeah.
Will Sean
Are you
Miller
gonna be there, Andy?
still be at Yes, we've already. Yeah, we booked the condo. We have the reservations at my favorite restaurant in the world, right on the beach.
What a life you live.
Pacific O, overlooking Lanai with the sun going down. Oof. It doesn't get any better than that.
With the muskies in the background.
Yeah.
Get any better than the Pacifico.
The
on
portrait
Front
of Chris
Street-
Mack behind
on
him.
Front Street in Lanai.
Portraits of coaches past. Thad Matta right behind.
Auburn. Of course, they may all be
gonna be on
in
his shirt.
prison stripes for that game. The Auburn War Eagles, Tigers, whatever they are. Duke, Coach K will be there. He goes every 4. They go, why would you go to the Maui Classic? Because you have to go through 6 time zones, and it drains your team, and they're never. It takes, Coach K is there every 4th year because you're only allowed to do that thing. He's like 20-0. He's been there 5 times, never lost a game.
And they might not lose any games next year. So
They're going to lose.
just
Got
all
Bagley.
silence.
Bagley's going to the NBA.
They're getting Williamson. That should be interesting.
Carter's going to the NBA.
They get 1, 2, and 3 coming in next year.
Oh, 1, 2, and 3.
I get 4 of the top 5 players in next year's class.
Country.
Yeah, but that's one of those 5-star whatever those rating services. The little guys go out there with the notebooks and rate those guys.
Okay.
Oh man, I
really
don't know.
reliable.
Have you seen them play?
Zion Williamson's about 6'9".
Wait, Zion?
Zion.
Yeah.
6'9",
Mount
275.
Well,
He's
whatever.
He's not buying it. Are you kidding? If Zion was coming to Xavier, you would have already built him a statue.
I don't do that. I don't DFI players who've never been on a court in Division I basketball. They have to earn Andy
man.
Mack's respect like Redford did.
Absolutely. I don't know, but Duke's got R.J. Barrett, Cameron Reddish, Zion Williamson, Trey Jones. Oh, man.
They're going to be really good.
I would be a little bit nervous going into that Duke game.
I think the Maui.
Yeah, keep it within 20.
Yeah, just
Please.
keep it within 20, and I think
Don't
it's
embarrass me,
you
please,
you
sir.
go home, it's a positive.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Well, it'll be a work in progress. Coach Steele will they'll learn on the fly there. The UC game isn't until January because it's going to be on rivalry week. The game will be in Clifton and
At the new arena.
At the new arena, it will be on. They control the TV, so it won't be until January. They'll probably put it on ESPN2 again. For what reason, I don't know. And then we'll hear rivalry week will be all about Duke and North Carolina, and
Nationally, as it should be.
They'll take Dick Vitale out of mothballs and bring him in, and he'll spend half the broadcast talking about how Rick Pitino has been wronged.
They might.
He didn't do any. Pitino didn't do anything wrong except he made 2 bad hires. That's what he was stabbed in the back by the guy who set up the sex parties, and the other guy who was caught in a room with an FBI informant talking about keeping this payment on the down low to the guard.
When you're
he was wrong. They didn't do anything wrong. Those guys went through all sorts of courses to know what not to do. Pitino was stabbed in the back. It makes so much sense when you read it. He's got every I crossed and T dotted. No, it's the other way around.
Yeah.
He's so focused in on the team that some of that stuff.
He just wants to have somebody who has faith in him to hire him as a coach. He doesn't care if he gets paid. He just wants to be back in basketball. It could be grade school. It could be junior pro. It could be AAU, Division III, NAIA.
He'd make a great AAU
He doesn't
coach.
care. He just wants to be trusted. He wants to have people who want to see him do his thing. Poor guy.
Well, we live in a forgiving country.
We do.
We live in a country that forgets about wrongdoing.
We were talking about this
Or
before.
maybe not
He'll just do
handling things exactly the right way.
He's just going to do the Bruce Pro route. He's going to go to TV for 2 years.
Get in the media for a year or two.
Smile a little bit.
Tom Clean.
And then boom, he's going to be back at a national
Yeah,
program.
you wait till the NCAA show cause order expires. You're looking at your watch. All right, tomorrow is the day. Well, I'll just grab a deal at Auburn and fly down there in a private jet. And
then I'll be in Hawaii
whatever.
in 2 years.
Yep,
And then Pitino will be back.
it's all good.
Well, Andy, you got a big day ahead. You're heading over to the Coach Steele press conference. Next time you come back, we'll have more to talk about. Andy, you are fantastic as always. We appreciate your deep, your strong, your knowledge that you provide to the Be Different podcast every single week.
I shot a little bit from the hip today, but that's just the way I am. I'm sorry. You got me all revved up about the shootout and UC and all that stuff.
And that is Kicking It Old School with Andy Mack.